Well, hello, this is Mark Barrett, and in today's training, we're going to be talking about setting up your Aweber autoresponder list. And of course, autoresponder being a critical component for your success in building an online business so that you can maintain connections with all your leads and your customers and let your system go out there and do all the heavy lifting for you. So you definitely need an autoresponder. There are a number of different autoresponder companies. Of course, I tend to prefer Aweber, so that's the setup I'm going to go through. But the setup is pretty similar with any autoresponder system you do use. So let's take a look at what we're going to do here. So what we're going to be doing and covering in today's training, and I'm going to take you through step by step here, is you're going to set up a new list in your autoresponder account with Aweber. We're going to configure the list settings. We're going to personalize our list. We're going to turn off the confirmed opt-in function. We're going to import our email autoresponder emails using what's called an Aweber share code, so you don't have to go out there and personally compose all those autoresponders that you would put into your system. You're going to kind of use a shortcut. Somebody's already set them up for you, your upline or whatever company you're promoting, and if you get an Aweber share code, you can just plug that in, hit a button, and boom, it's going to pull in all 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 autoresponders already set up for you, and then you're going to fill in your what's called the global snippets with your info so that the links, when people click on those links in your autoresponders, it's going to go to your information instead of somebody else's. That's how we customize them, right? Little technology tool. And then we're going to create an opt-in form. Now this is an optional step. It just depends on how you're using your autoresponder system. If you're using it with My Lead System Pro, you really don't need to create an opt-in form. It's already been done for you in the system. Once again, to use this in conjunction with other marketing systems like Empower, you don't need it, but there are some functions where you may want to set up an opt-in form, such as Craigslist advertising or something like that. So we're going to show you how to do that also. Okay, so let's actually go over to our account here for Aweber, and I'm going to log in and actually show you how to do it. So we're going to log in, and here's my Aweber account, and as you can see, I have a whole bunch of different lists. And so the reason you have more than one list, of course, is that if you are going out there and using a particular marketing approach to generate leads, you want the autoresponders that are going out and maintaining contact with your leads or prospects to be congruent with the information that they already saw. So for instance, if you're trying to pull somebody into your My Lead System Pro system, then you want to be you want to have one particular list that all those leads are going to go into, and all the autoresponders should be congruent with the My Lead System Pro system, so it drives traffic back to that system so you can bring them into that particular marketing tool. If you're using it for some different orientation, like let's say you're using it for Empower Network, that particular funnel and training system, you want your autoresponders to be congruent with that particular system. They shouldn't be talking about Lead System Pro if they're opting into Empower, and vice versa. So you're going to actually end up having one list for every particular marketing approach you're doing, and as you can see, I have a bunch of them. I have one list when leads come in from my blog. Actually, I have two different lists, but once again, this helps you kind of segment your traffic and customize your autoresponders so that they target that particular audience that are opting in. Anyway, we'll get into more of that theory and other trainings, but what we're going to do today is just set up a new list and show you the steps on how you actually walk through and set it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. Now when you first sign into Aweber, they're going to create a list for you. I'm just going to go over here to create and manage lists, and I'm going to say create a new list. Right when you set up your Aweber account, basically they're going to flip you into this configuration right here. Once you click the button and log into your system, it's going to prompt you to actually set up your account. And then you're going to see this little step-by-step process down here for Aweber. Watch the video. Setup Wizard is 9% complete. Actually, I recommend you just ignore this. So I'm going to click it off because with the Aweber setup, it's you can follow it right through, and they'll coach you on how to set it up from their standpoint. I'm going to shortcut it for you here and show you how to just set up the thing without having to go through 2 or 3 different versions of a Aweber setup. So we're going to get rid of that little thing down on the bottom. And so here, when you first go to set up a list, it's going to throw this cute little name at you, default, whatever, and it's going to assign a number. I think you need to actually name your list so that you know what you're dealing with, and we're going to be talking about I'm going to just give it this particular name. Boom. And so what happens here is if it tells you a list name is unavailable, Aweber lists, you have the availability of integrating this with a whole bunch of different systems out there. So the lists are all basically have to be unique. The name of the list has to be unique. Because you don't want to plug in a function for a list, like say if there's somebody else using MLM-leads-mark, and I plug this into my Lead System Pro, for instance, or Empower, somebody else could be getting my leads. I don't want that. So they make every one of them unique. So you may have to add like a 1 on the end of this, or figure out some different list name. This one's available, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. So you have to give it some kind of custom configuration, right? Typically, this lead list name is going to be seen by your prospects when those emails go out to them, so make it something that's congruent with actually kind of what you're doing. Don't lose too many brain cells over it. Just get something set up. You can always change your list name. List description, your prospects don't see this, but this helps you keep track of what you're doing. So I just give it a name so I know where I'm going, or I might call it blog leads, right? If I'm pushing leads into this sales funnel from my blog, for instance, right? And when you set up your Aweber account, you're going to do a default name and email address, which it'll pop in here. But you can always change this to anything you want. Also, they tell you to avoid using free addresses like AOL and Yahoo and Gmail. Feel free to go ahead and use it. You know, they all work. Even though Aweber doesn't like you to do it, they all work. So don't worry about that. Notifications. Now, if you want to be notified when a lead comes in, then you put your information down here, right? And I'm just going to copy this same one here, and I'm going to plug it in down here, okay? And I'm going to add it. This is kind of fun. I recommend you do this in the beginning when you're getting yourself set up, because it's kind of fun when a lead actually opts into your system. You get a notification. You go, ah, right, I'm getting leads. After you start getting 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 a day, it just gets purely annoying. So you may want to come back in and just turn this function off, right? Good problem to have, right? And whenever you make any change in your system with Aweber, at the bottom of the page, you always click Save Settings. Okay. So remember, what we did is we came in, we created our list, right? We named it, and we're here. There's 3 tabs across the top when you're creating a list. There's Basic Settings, Personalize Your List, and Confirmed Opt-in. And we're going to go through each of these steps here. So our basic settings we've already configured, pretty simple. Notifications, we've saved it. Now we click on tab 2, Personalize Your List. Now here's where you can put in some basic information about your business, company name, website URL, whatever. Don't get too confused on this. Company name, typically it's whatever marketing name you're going to be using online. Like I have one, firebrandnetworker.com. It's actually a website. So I just use that as kind of a company name. Or if I want to put my blog name up there, Ask Mark Barrett. So because this is going to be generating, this is going to field leads that come in from my blog, I'm simply going to go Ask Mark Barrett, right? Makes it look more professional. And then my website address that I put in here is just, that's my blog address. So I put that in there, right? So you see I just took my my domain URL and converted it into what looks like a company name, okay? And if you don't do it right, it'll tell you that you have an invalid URL, which sometimes you just have to ignore. Okay. There we go. So it liked that particular version. It actually does a little query out there and to make sure your website actually exists before you do this. So if you're going to set something up and you don't have a website set up yet, this is going to give you an invalid URL. So just leave it blank and come back to it, right? So email signature. Now this is important. This is where you can use some of the automated functions within Aweber. So you want to plug a signature in here. This is the same thing that when you send out an email to somebody from your Gmail or whatever, you usually have a signature down on the bottom, which is your name, your website links, valid or relevant information that you want on the bottom of each of your emails, contact info, so that people can get in touch with you easily. Same thing here. So I just typically put my name, put a little description of what you do there, and then I'm going to put my phone number. You Okay, and I put the 1 in front of it because, of course, you're doing internet marketing. We get international, and people from another country need to know what your country code is. In the U.S., it's 1, so that they can call you. Then I'm probably going to put in, actually, I usually separate these like that, and then I'm going to put in an email address. That's a email address link for me. I'm going to put in probably my blog address, like that. So I have a bunch of references and contact information down here that can easily be plugged in. Now, also, Aweber lets you integrate with your social media accounts. And so I have a whole bunch of different Twitter accounts that I already have plugged in here, so it just brings them up automatically. Yours aren't going to be in here, but you can actually, under step 2, link this up with your Twitter account. So when you send an email out from, or a broadcast email to your group on this list that opted in, it'll also post that out to your Twitter accounts. Kind of nice function. You can also share with Facebook, and I have a bunch of different Facebook accounts that I have plugged in automatically. Okay, so this is all done. Now remember, we said we were going to set up global text snippets, but we're not going to do that right now because there's nothing in here right now. So we're just going to click Save Settings. Successfully saved. Remember to save your settings. Okay, so that was our signature. We personalized our list. Now we come over to step 3, Confirmed Opt-in. Now, confirmed opt-in typically means that there's 2 ways you can do your autoresponders. You can do it just unconfirmed opt-in or confirmed. Autoresponder companies love confirmed opt-in. It's also referred to as double opt-in. However, we as marketers do not want that. Confirmed opt-in means that when somebody actually puts their information into your website and wants to become a lead, confirmed opt-in actually pops up and says, you have to go to your email and check for an email and click on the confirmation link before we will let you add yourself to this list. It's a double step. Autoresponder companies love it because it really makes people jump through the hoops, and they can't put in dummy email addresses. From a marketer standpoint, though, hey, we don't want to make it hard for our customers to get to our sales page. So we don't want that garbage in there. So I recommend you come in here and you just click on this little off button, and it goes, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And then it's going to switch it over to red, and it's off. And that's all you need to do on this page. You don't need to do any of these steps on this page other than turn it off and save settings. Okay, there we go. Now, we have gone through the steps of setting up our autoresponder, personalizing our list, and confirming our opt-in right here. So we configured our list settings right here. We personalized our list. We turned off the confirmed opt-in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and import email autoresponders, and so we can have the system totally set up, and then we're going to do our global snippets. Okay, so let's take a look at what that means. Now with this account, you can see there's a whole bunch of settings in Aweber across the top here, right? There's your home button that shows you all your lists. Here, your list. Here's your list settings, custom fields, automation. You don't mess with any of these. We just did our list settings, which was this page. Under messages, follow-up messages, broadcast, blog broadcast. These are the 2 we're concerned with here, follow-up and broadcast, right? So here, if we click on follow-up, we want a whole bunch of messages that go out to our leads when they opt in that continue to drip on our leads, maintain communication, make contact with them on an automated basis every few days so that we keep ourselves in front of our prospects. It's the beauty of technology when you're doing contact with your leads. But as you can see, there's nothing in here. Now we could click on this and create them ourselves, but if we want to create 20 or 30 messages, we have to sit down, get really good at copywriting, figure out what we want in here, and so it just gets purely annoying. So it takes a long time to do. So we're going to do this little cheat step, and you will find this little code that I pasted into my notepad here is actually a share code. I'm going to copy that. Now your share codes you can get from when you're setting up your system. If you're setting up a system like My Lead System Pro, under Autoresponder Setup, they're going to give you a share code, which allows you to import a pre-configured list of autoresponder emails into your system. 30 or 40 or 50 of them already written, already done, copywriting's done, the links are in place. Easy, you can get up and running in 5 minutes. This particular one is for Empower. So I'm simply going to come down here where it says campaign sharing, and I'm going to go here where it says use a predefined campaign code. So I'm going to paste that in, And I'm simply going to click Load Campaign. Boom. Now, wasn't that easy? Look at that. So what has happened now is these autoresponder messages that have already been done and configured for this particular sales funnel are all in here. Look at them all. It would have taken you forever to write all these. There's 80 autoresponders, right, that go out to our prospects. Each of these hyperlinks right here represents an autoresponder, and if you click on any of them, it'll actually open the edit function and show you what's in the autoresponder. It's already done. Here's an HTML version up here that contains hyperlinks. Here's the text version. And you always have to have one version of each, right? So these are already done for you, right? Piece of cake. If you want to, and so if you go into any of these autoresponders and you want to see actually what they look like, here's the subject line. I don't recommend you change anything in these autoresponders that are already pre-configured in the beginning. Just set them up and go with it. We're going to show you how to do it. But later on, as you gain some expertise, you can actually add some of your own autoresponders into the sequence to personalize your whole marketing list, right? And then you can, on any of these that you open, you can click Preview. So when you click Preview, it brings up a preview of what the HTML version actually looks like. And as you can see, these links are actually active. If we click on these, it's going to take us to a web page, right? And then you just click Save Your Message. So we're not going to click on Save because we didn't change anything. Same thing here. If we want to open this up, message number 2, it opens it up and shows us both versions once again. And then down here is some settings you don't need to worry about right now. Just leave everything in place. But interval simply means how many days after the last email goes out does this email go out. So you can set your configuration to be the next day, 3 days from now, 4 days from now, so that you set your drip sequence. Luckily for you, all this has been done in advance, so you don't have to worry about it. So these are all done. Now at some point, if you want to add your own configuration in, here is a email designer function, new HTML message, right? Personally, I think using this particular, if I wanted to add a new email in here, is complicated. So personally, I don't use this. I use the previous follow-up editor, which when I click on it, brings up this blank, just like the ones we saw, so we can enter our own info. So if you want to put some custom stuff in here, like a picture of you, your smiling face, your direct links to your website, a special little video you did for your people that opted in, you can do it. Create a new message here, right? This particular one, if we saved it, let's go down here and say save. And we have to enter a subject. New email. Save that message. Come on, Aweber, get it saved. There we go. So any new messages that you want to add into your sequence are going to be added at the very bottom. See, new email. This comes up as email 81. However, if this is a special like hello picture of me to brand myself with my prospects, I want that up in the beginning, right? So all I do is put my mouse over this to where you get the little double arrows that come up, push it down, and simply drag that email up to the top. And I could actually make that email number 2 or number 1. And if I drop it now, Aweber is going to reconfigure everything for me. And you can see now, as it's loading it up and changing this configuration, that email is now going to come out number 2 in the sequence. Boom. And so you can customize these lists by actually maybe making the first video something unique to you as you're building your subscriber list. Okay. So that's what we did. We imported our email autoresponder emails. There's a unique Aweber share code for any company that you're going to be dealing with, generally speaking. And so just get that share code. Share codes do not work across platforms. So in other words, if you're using GetResponse, an Aweber share code isn't going to work for you. If you're using GVO, an Aweber share code is not going to work for you. You'll find that most systems will have a Aweber version, since Aweber is one of the bigger autoresponder companies out there. Now we're going to talk about global snippets real quickly. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, as we can see, our email is now number 2 in the sequence. And now what we want to do, all these emails have been put in here, right? And let me go show you something. However, these links are all going somewhere. Where do those links go? So if we highlight that and click here on hyperlink, you can see that there's this strange code that's in there rather than a website. It's caption, exclamation point, global landing. Now that's called a global snippet, right? So what we're going to do to set our global snippets so that all of those links actually go to us is we're simply going to come up here to list and go back to list settings. Remember, this is where we first were. And what we're going to do is click on Personalize our list, which was the second tab we went to, right? And now when we scroll down here to the bottom where the global text snippets are, when we imported that list with the share code, it also brought in this whole pre-configured group of what's called global snippets. Global snippets allow the Aweber system, allow you to put your particular information in, and then the system will insert that into each of the emails where the special code has already been set up. Now the code has been set up by whoever developed the list, whether that's Empower or whether that's My Lead System Pro. So all you have to do, when you imported this list, it brought the snippets along with it because it knows that you have to custom configure it. Now this one's already been done, right? But if you import this Empower list using the share code that I provide you with, you're going to come up and you're going to see the global name that is going to get inserted everywhere as Mark Barrett. Well, if you're not Mark Barrett, you don't want my name in there. So you go Bob Jones, if that's your name, and you click Update. You always have to update. Now you're going to see your name, and you're going to have to save your settings. If you don't save your settings, it ain't going to work. Phone, you're going to put your own phone in here. You're going to say, that's Mark's phone. I don't want that there. 555-1212 is your number. Update. You don't have to save it every time, but remember to save it at the end. Okay. Global landing. Okay. Now you see here, this is, if you're an Empower Network, you recognize that this is a main landing page link for this particular business presentation, right? And so my username is Mark Barrett, so it's right at the end. So if you're in Empower, of course, you click Edit, you come back in here, you use the arrow button to bring it to the very end, and you're going to backspace out my username and put in your own username, right? Which is going to be probably Bob Jones or something, right, where I put username. Down here, you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to come over, insert your username, and these are all generally set up pretty much the same way in all these lists. So this would be username again, your username. See, now it's going to show you your username. That's what you put in there. And then down under username, you'd put in Bob Jones, if that's your username, right? So we have three different examples here. Don't get confused. Whatever your username is, it may be Money Junkie 2, right? whatever it is for this particular system, right? If you're in Empower, you put in your Empower username there. You put in your Empower username here. You put in your Empower username here, right? And that allows, and you don't do anything else. You just click Save Settings. That allows the system, when an email actually goes out to your prospects and they click on that link to where it says global field, Aweber is going to insert your information into there and it's going to drive it directly to your page. So it's all automated. You don't have to go through 80 emails and configure them, right? So that's all been done. Boom. We're actually good to go at this point. And what I recommend you do, let's go back to messages. Remember, we were at follow-up. What I recommend you do is when you get your global snippets configured, do a test. Don't just go plug in this thing in and assume they're going to the right location. So you can click on any of these buttons here and click Test, and it will actually bring up Send a Test Message, right? And so what I'll do is I will say, okay, I'm going to send it to this email address of mine, and you plug your email address in, and you click Send Test. Boom, and it says an email was sent. And what you do is you let that email come into your email program, right, as if you were a prospect, and then you're going to go to that email, you're going to click on the links within that email. Click on all of them to make sure that they all go to the proper location. So you don't need to test all of these. If you test one and all the links are good, you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so as you can see, We're all set up now. Our autoresponders are done. So at that point, you're pretty well done with configuring your Aweber for most systems. We're going to show you how to create an opt-in form, although this is optional. Once again, if you're plugging your system into, let's say, the Empower network, all you got to do is put your code into now the Empower network in your business back office, and you put your Aweber list name in there. In this case, it would be MLM-leads-mark. That's my list name, right? And click Save, and you're good to go. In My Lead System Pro, it's the same thing. You go into your autoresponder setup, select that Aweber as your autoresponder, enter your list name, you're good to go. Once you've imported your My Lead System Pro list into it. So that's all you do. Now, in some instances, you may want to create a web form. Because with most of the Empower functions and My Lead System Pro functions, your web forms are already integrated, so you need to worry about that. But let's say you want to do some Craigslist advertising or something, or you want to do some special configuration and put a capture box on your blog or something. So you're going to have to actually create a web form to do that. And the way you do that is you come to this button up here, Web Form, create a new web form. Boom. Now it'll throw this default one up here, but there are a lot of different configurations you can use. If you had a shoe store, you may want to use that one. We don't. We may want to use this one. That's kind of nice. That's modern looking, supposedly. Popular, you can come up here to popular ones. This is kind of a nice one. Yeah. Let's load this, and anything you load, you can change the color sequence on it or all these things. Go nuts and be a designer if you want to. Okay, so now we have two fields in here that have been automatically set up for us, name and email. I think you always need to get phone number additionally, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new field and insert it in here, because you always want to be able to call your prospects. If you're getting less than 25 leads a day, always call your prospects. You can't do that if you don't have their phone number. So we come over here and we say create a new field. And it'll say, name your field. What do you want? Well, I want their phone. That's all you do. Phone, save. Boom, there's phone. Now, if you're doing a bunch of international business, maybe you want to put Skype in too, right? Save. There's Skype. See? Pretty good custom configuration, okay? The button and everything is here. All your little fields, everything's done. So now we just save the web form. Click that button. We go to step 2. Now here's where you can give it a name. So let's say I'm putting this form on my blog, right? I would want to say blog. I would say blog, and let's see. Ask Mark Barrett as a capture form. So that way I know where the lead traffic is coming in from. Don't worry about these specialized buttons. Down here is a function that you need to be aware of. Normally when people opt in, when you're using one of these forms, if you're creating your own form, it's going to pop up, and this will give you a preview of it, and give you what's called a basic thank you page. Thank you for subscribing, return to Ask Mark Barrett. Remember, this was the domain link that I put in there, right? So, but that doesn't really satisfy our function. Let's say that we want somebody to opt in, but we want to take them to a particular page on our blog, or we want to take them to a particular presentation within Empower or My Lead System Pro or wherever we're taking it. So let me show you. Let's use as an example. Let's say I want to take them to a particular page on my blog. And let's say I want to take them to my particular article about Empower Network. So I click on that on my blog, and it brings me up with what's called a permalink, which is the actual location of this article on my blog. So I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go back to my setup. And I'm going to select this button and go to Custom Page. Use your own URL. Then it says enter it, right? So, okay. So now I'm going to come in and paste that page that would take somebody, once they opt in, if I put this down here, once this person registers and they go into my autoresponder list, they're going to immediately be taken to this particular article on my blog. So you can drive them to any location you want. To, if they opt in, you can take them to a particular presentation page. You could take them anywhere, right? And then you click Save Web Form. Okay. Now we go to step 3. You're done. Now here is where you decide how you're going to get the information, how you're going to actually post this form somewhere. So if you're putting it on your blog with, and you have a blog somewhere, you're going to click on I will install my form, and you can either, if your blog supports Java text snippets, you can use that. Typically speaking, most of them use what's called raw HTML. So you're just going to take and you're going to copy all this, and you're going to go slap it on your blog in your widgets or wherever you're trying to post that. It's an advanced strategy, so I'm not going to go into that. Or the easier thing a lot of times is, let's say that maybe you're running a Craigslist ad and you want people, once they click on your information, to go directly to a capture form so you can get their information before you transfer them someplace else. You click Have Aweber host my form, and it gives you a domain link that is actually your form sitting out on the internet already. So if we went to that form and took a look at it, boom. See, here's what pops up. So now, if I test my form, and you always want to test your information, okay? It entered my information here, so I can click Sign Up Now to see whether it actually works properly. And it registers me, and look, boom, took me right to this article on my blog to where I redirected the people to once they opted in. Pretty tricky, huh? So that's how you do it. Okay, so once again, we're now completely set up on our autoresponder. We set up our new autoresponder account, new list, right? And we named that list. We configured the list settings. Remember the 3 tabs across the top. Personalize your list was the second tab. We did the initial list settings on tab 1, personalize your list on tabs 2. We turned off the confirmed opt-in. That is not a good thing for marketers to use, okay? So we turned that off. We imported our email autoresponders by using an Aweber sharecode. We filled out our global snippets so that we were sure they went to the right place. We should actually add in test your system emails. You definitely want to do that because you want to make sure they're going to the right place. And then create the opt-in form. We should actually add in one more little notation here. We're going to add in test your form, right, to make sure that when somebody opts in, it actually goes somewhere. Well, it's Mark Barrett in Denver, Colorado. Hope this has been useful information for you. Get your Aweber list set up and use it in good form. It is an invaluable tool that will leverage your time like you wouldn't believe. So play around with it, put some custom emails in there, slap your smiling face on top of each and every one of those emails so that you personally brand yourself with your prospects, but go out there and make some money. Thanks.